There's something wrong with my new tiny house. Part 3. I haven't written anything because I needed to figure out how. You see, after my last update with the video game and the resemblance to myself, as well as incorporating all the things into it that have been going on in my life, I had to be put on leave with pay. I had been in a meeting when I started getting notifications in my work email from what I can only expect, having been the person or persons outside my tiny house. Only, I don't believe that it was a person per se. You see, and I know this is going to sound odd, but it wasn't aliens either. I mean, someone was deliberately trying to sabotage me and my work. I had been given the highest clearance to ensure all of this new virtual reality gaming system stuff was going to be airtight. I believe someone wanted me off this project for a reason, but what the hell could the reason be? All of the illusions, well, as I would describe them, are virtual reality holograms. You see, they're copying and pasting people from my life, like Dave, into my field of view. How can they do this? Well, if you recall the birds dying from hitting some force field and all that, it's part of the new game. You see, you have to establish a designated area around your house or wherever you plan to play the virtual reality game so the holograms will work. Kind of like projecting movies onto a film so you can see them. My only question is, who did it? Who did this to me? Since I had the time, my parents were getting sick of looking at me laying on the couch, head buried in my laptop, I moved back to my tiny house. Dave didn't seem to mind. He seemed happy I had returned and genuinely missed my being his neighbor. I didn't tell Dave why I had come back, though. I needed to investigate this situation myself. I mean, I trusted Dave, but I didn't want him to interrupt my investigation in any way accidentally. So here I was. I put the security camera app back on my phone as well. I knew it would be a short time before I began getting notifications again. It was literally seconds. There was a hit a few minutes after I turned my camera on, but the camera was not showing me the front of my house. See, I had originally put it in front of my house above the front door, only now the camera was moving. I sat up and ran to the front door, but before I opened it, I realized that someone must have taken it off and was now walking around outside with it. I stupidly bought a wireless camera thinking it would be a cheaper setup and I could charge it during the day when relatively no one was present. Then I saw it. The camera was now in front of something or someone, and there was blood present. Was it a body? What the fuck was I looking at? I was ready to call 911 when I heard a voice. "It's not certain. You will be now." Then the camera went on again. I stood looking outside trying to figure out who the fuck was messing with me. I was getting angry amid my fear and swung open my front door. Nobody was there. And my camera was actually still above my front door. I looked back at my phone. It was reading offline for the camera. I grabbed my camera. It was on. But I needed clarification. I checked the Wi-Fi and everything was working. My phone kicked back on, and again, the camera just showed the front of my house. Nothing was there. I was confused as to who the two people were on the video. I couldn't make out any faces, and the blood was unnerving. I thought of going to the police, but once again decided against it until I had more evidence that whoever this was targeting me was doing it for a specific reason. And furthermore, what was that reason? My boss checked in with me every few days to see if I had gotten my shit together. I played dumb in the meantime. I had about a month's worth of leave time I had already planned to take so I could at least get some form of a paycheck while I figured out who was stalking me. I had always been the model employee, never late, always ready to work, didn't take a lot of time off, and was constantly helping the company make progress. I thought of my friends and whether they would do something like this. I couldn't think of one single person. My buddy Micah, who helped me get this property for the new tiny house, he was living out of state. I can think of anyone that wanted to do me harm. I decided to lie down for now and force myself to go to sleep. I needed all the rest I could muster before starting a hardcore investigation in the morning. The following day, I woke early, made my coffee, and hopped onto my laptop to begin some crucial examination of my security system and to inspect for any breaches. I spent over an hour before finding a file that I didn't recognize. I clicked on it and saw 2 other files inside of it. One was titled MIB, a Men in Black reference, and the additional file was simply a series of numbers. When I looked at it again, I thought I might recognize the creator. Not everyone can hide who they are. Sometimes even in the land of cybersecurity, hackers have a signature. I thought I recognized the signature, but when I went in to view the file, it was locked. There was no way this was possible. With the format I had created, look, in regular terms, I created this to be hack-proof and lock-proof, and if someone did go in, only I could make necessary changes and get rid of any virus that they may try to plant, or any spyware. In short, I was screwed at the moment. I decided to step away from the stupidity that I seemed to feel like I was in and took a break out on my deck. I did love being here. There was a view of the forest off to the left of me, and it was gorgeous. You could hear water from the river that flowed near me and the fields on my right, of the cows and the goats in the distance. The sweet smell of grass lingered and made me feel happy and safe. I forget, only I couldn't place it. I don't understand. I was enjoying my break, drinking my coffee when it occurred to me. The voice on the video did sound vaguely familiar. It was something you didn't forget, only I couldn't place it. I knew then it was someone. And I knew then that it was someone I knew doing this to me. I looked at my phone. Who would have access to my email address or any of my personal information, as in passwords to my email? I didn't want to think about it, but my ex-girlfriend would have been the only one that might have been able to figure out what my password was, or I don't know. I didn't know how it could be possible. She wasn't some computer whiz, but maybe she erroneously gave out my information to someone and they might have hacked into it. I looked at my phone and dialed her number to see what, if anything, she might know. The phone began to ring. But before I could wait for an answer, woman, not just any woman, the woman from my camera. Oh my God, the woman from my camera notifications. She was standing between me and Dave's prized cows on the property land. She had long dark hair, light eyes, and a torn flower dress on. Her knees looked like she had been crawling in the mud. She stood there staring at me with listless eyes, and I wondered for a second if she were a ghost. I almost went into my house to call the police when I heard her. Help me, please. I was unnerved when I saw her. She fell to the ground and was sobbing. I ran over to her and picked her up. I helped her onto the deck of my house, and she sat there as I tried to comfort her, all the while asking her if I could call someone for her. She sat in front of me for a good while, as if she suddenly realized where she was. She stood up and freaked out. I can't be here in the daytime. I looked at her and could clearly see she was visibly afraid. Why can't you be here in the daytime? She looked around, and then she walked into my tiny house. She went right over to my bathroom area. Behind a light, she pulled out a small recording device. I didn't even know it was there. What is this? You're the woman on my camera. Who are you working for? By now I was getting angry. She looked around, unscrewing the light bulb on my ceiling, and pulled out a tiny camera. She took both devices and put them in the bathroom sink and began running water on them. I will only talk to you for a few moments. I'll answer any questions you have, but then I have to go. No, I can't make any promises. You'll stay here as long as I need you to. What's the meaning of all of this? Your company paid me to come here and create as much fear in you as possible. The creepy videos, the weird occurrences. But why? You have security clearance for your company. Someone doesn't want you to find a bug and has paid someone a lot of money to ensure you don't find it. Why are you even here, though? I was supposed to stay outside, but the guy I was working with hasn't returned. He left last night. He said he'd be gone only a couple of hours, didn't say where he was going or for how long. Okay, I said, still trying to grasp the situation I was in. So I left the trailer we were in and I started walking. I was afraid Derek might be dead. The people that hired us to do a job, I don't know, we didn't even know each other before this job. They wanted two perfect strangers to work together. I've been out there for months. He's the only other human being I've been in contact with while we worked on you. Who is doing this to me? I honestly can't answer. We get paid after each job, so every time we fuck with you, we get paid in Bitcoin. It goes to some specialized cash transfer app. So if the transaction with the account, it can't be traced. We only get 24 hours to deposit the payment. If we don't, then sorry, out of luck, till the next job. Derek, the guy that I was with, I don't know his real name, only that he told me to call him Derek. He didn't get paid, so that he went to talk to someone about it. When I realized where I was, I freaked out, and that's when you saw me, and I can't be here. So my employer, or someone that works for my company, is paying you a lot of money to get me to stop my work? I don't see why I have to be the only target. There are guys at the company that know way more than me. I don't know, it's like a collateral thing. How? I asked her. They have information on someone close to you. They'll use it on this person unless you're out of the way. So stay out of their way. Find a reason to quit or stop working on this game. It's dangerous. Who would they be trying to blackmail? Then, with stupidity, I realized who. It had to be my ex, which was the exact conclusion I had come to before she arrived. I have to go in case he comes back. Look, please don't say anything to anyone that you saw me. Please. She never left me her name. She only ran out and back toward the woods. This was insane. I wanted to follow her because I had so many more questions. Instead, I went into the bathroom and turned off the running water that was still running. I had two choices. I could stop my work on this situation, which could hurt me and possibly someone close to me, or I could find out why this was happening and prevent the person from getting hurt anyway. I picked up my phone and called my ex-girlfriend, Sasha. I asked her to meet me for coffee the next day. I made the excuse I had some things I needed to talk to her about, something that I felt I needed to clear the air between us since our breakup. I didn't have anything to clear. The split had pretty much been mutual. We were in two places in our lives and two different people at this point. My career was going places, and she wanted to get married and start a family. You know the story. If it was Sasha they were turning against me, I wanted to let her know that I wouldn't let anything happen to her. That she could tell me what was going on, and I would make sure that I would keep her safe. When I talked to Sasha, she agreed to meet me at a local cafe at around 11 the next day. So at 11, the next day, I showed up 10 minutes early to get a table. I bought Sasha's favorite drink, a lavender chai, and I got my regular old black coffee with no cream. I sat waiting for her, and I waited. I waited until she was very late. I kept watching the door, thinking I saw her, that she was going to come in at any second. Sasha never came. Finally, an hour and 10 minutes later, I realized Sasha had stood me up. I took the drinks and tossed them. I tried calling her on the way to my car and left a voicemail. When I got home, I sat on my sofa. This investigation was a no-go. I spent the day trying to decide if it was worth even bothering with all of this. If they didn't want me to find a bug in the program that controlled the game, why not just find a stupid reason to fire me? None of this made sense. Later that night, I sat on my sofa bed eating pizza and watching Seinfeld reruns when I got another notification on my phone. Once again, it was on my front porch. There was no one in the camera frame. Then I saw something else. There was a flash of blood and a muffled scream. I stared at my phone in terror as I saw what looked like Sasha pleading with someone not to hurt her. I jumped to my feet and swung open the door. Again, in typical fashion, there was nobody there. The camera still showed an unforgiving image of Sasha, and she was right there on my porch. But it wasn't in real time. I looked around and tried to figure out how this was happening. My heart was pounding, trying to figure out what to do. I was aching to help Sasha. I had tears in my eyes from watching her suffer on camera. What could I do? I began to sob like a helpless child, 1,000 thoughts going through my mind at once. The camera was showing blood everywhere, and a lot of it. Only now it looked as if someone, possibly Sasha, was being dragged along the grass in front of my house. I could only make out muffled screams as it looked like she had something stuffed inside of her mouth. I saw blood on her legs, and she was wearing a long t-shirt, nothing else. I could see the cows in the background. It was night, but then it's night here now. When was this recorded? Could it have been last night? Again, there was nobody outside my tiny house. Fuck. Was Sasha even still alive? Then the images shut off, and the camera returned to real time, showing what I saw with my eyes. An empty yard. I was afraid to go to the police, but I needed to contact authorities, but without knowing how deep this was or what was real versus fake, how could I even be sure that Sasha was being harmed or that this wasn't all part of an elaborate hoax? I tried to get some sleep that night to figure it out. I didn't sleep well, though, and was up early before Dave even began running the tractors. I decided to walk out onto my vacant porch, only on my boxers, no shirt or shoes, and looked at the woods to my left. What if they were keeping her there? I began walking towards the woods when I stepped on something. It hurt as the sharp object stuck in my bare foot. It was sharp, and at first it looked like a tack. I looked again and recognized it as a ring. It wasn't any ring, but was Sasha's emerald birthstone ring, still attached to her finger. I picked up her finger and realized it wasn't attached to any hand, nor was it attached to a body. I began to scream.